Record.
All right, we're recording. Hey there, mama friends, and welcome to the All You Mama interviews, where we bring you experts so you can put yourself first without the guilt. I am Megan Q. Barrett of allyouMama.com, and I certainly don't have all the answers, but I know people with them. Our expert today is Veronica from LullaBy Veronica, and she is a sleep coach that helps you and your little ones sleep better. Hey, Veronica, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, thank you for having me here. I'm so glad and so excited to be here and part of your interviews. It's a great project and I love to be here.
Awesome. I just like to help bring people together and get as much information out there as we can. And I know you have some awesome information to give these mamas. So why don't you start with, can you tell us what the difference is? You are a gentle sleep coach. I think I forgot to mention the gentle part, which is key. And how is that different from, say, sleep training?
Okay, so the key word is what you said, gentle. A gentle sleep coach, as gentle sleep coach, we work in a more gentle and gradual way to sleep train your child. So we take it one step at a time. We don't do anything that you don't feel comfortable with, and we go like at your speed, like how you want to do it and what you want to do each day, right? So gentle and gradual, we try to minimize the crying. And this was created actually as an alternative for all the parents that were just tired about the cried out method. Like if you want to sleep train, you just have to let him cry. And a lot of parents were not okay with that. So this was created.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I know that when my babies were crying in the middle of the night when I was sleep training, it hurts my heart. Like I'd start to feel like physically ill hearing them cry. But at the same time, it's like I get in this argument in my head, like they need to sleep, I need to sleep, but I can't hear the crying. And now I'm not sleeping. So how do you work with moms and parents in general on that whole inner dialogue and like the guilt around having your baby cry, but then also the guilt on like, I need to sleep?
Okay. Well, first of all, we don't do anything that you don't feel comfortable with. We don't want to do something where you post something that will make you feel guilty. So we have like an interview when I ask, like, you want to leave your baby to cry, look, for 3 minutes, or do you feel comfortable with it? And the mom can say, yeah, I can. Can you be consistent with that? Can you let him cry 3 minutes at 1 a.m., but also at 5 a.m. and maybe at 3 a.m., right? So we do everything. It's like so personalized and customized for each family, depending on the family dynamics. And also we have like this follow-up system in which I talk with the moms even by email every day or phone calls. And I actually coach the moms and I give them the security that they're doing something right, that they're doing something for their kids. They're teaching them something and they are just getting frustrated that it's something new. It's a new skill that they are learning. So they are not crying because you are being a bad mom or because you are not there. They're just crying because they're frustrated and they want to know how to do it, but it's hard. It's hard learning something new, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to be there the whole step of the way. You're going to reassure your baby just using another method, like with your words, patting, or just being on the side of his crib, telling them, I'm here, okay? I listen to you. I know that you're frustrated, but I'm going to help you and this is going to be better for you and for me as a mom and for everyone around us.
Yes.
So
yes.
Remind moms that you're doing that for them and they are not crying because they need you. They're just crying because they're frustrated.
And sometimes like as a mom, like that's all you really need to hear is that like you're doing a good job and it's not your fault. Too. And I mean, like as a coach, like sometimes that's all a mom needs to hear then. And yeah. And I also love that you said like, it's, they're just frustrated and learning, because I feel like you can relate to that, right? Like if I'm trying to learn something new and I'm not getting it, I start getting really frustrated. I've cried because I'm frustrated too. Right.
You have the word to say, I'm frustrated, I can't do this. Imagine a little baby that their only way of communicating is crying. So they're like, Mom, I don't like this. You used to hold me. What's happening? But they cannot say the whole sentence, so they just cry, right?
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, there's like lots of different questions on different age groups. So I'm going to hit a couple of them. One of them was asked by a few mamas, including myself here, and it is about 3-year-olds. And I feel like my son was like this fantastic sleeper until he got to 3. And it's like, then he's waking up, he's coming in our room, and there's always some kind of excuse. It's the blanket, it's the smoke detector, it's some noise. So how can we what's the best way to handle that is how I'm going to phrase that.
It's very common. Like we have good sleepers, and then at 3 years, they start like not being bad sleepers, but they start like waking up and then asking for things and excuses. That's common. And it all goes down to limit setting. Like we have to work with them during the night as the same way we work with them during the day. Sometimes during the day, it's very common for us to say like just one more ice cream or 5 more minutes of screen time, or you're setting limits every time and you're consistent with them. During the night, it's really hard because we are tired, because they are funny sometimes when they are scared of the computer or a monster or whatever. It's kind of funny, and you also are tired and you just want to get it over with and go back to sleep. But we have to keep the limit setting, have very clear rules about bedtime, what's permitted and what's not. So, and also teach them the things, for example, about the covers. If he already knows how to cover by himself, then you just have to push that, okay, you can do it by yourself. Okay, I'm going to do it one time, and then you have to do it by yourself. Obviously, they're going to get frustrated, not because they don't know how to do it, but because what they really want is you in their room, to postpone the sleep, have more time with you. So, or maybe, Mom, I need water. Okay, you have your water on your side of the bed. You can grab it. Mom, I need to potty. You stand up and go to potty by yourself. You already know how to do it. You just teach them during the day. Be very clear about the limits, and use the tools available to support those limit setting. I have lots of tools available on my webpage that you can use with toddlers, like sticker charts to reinforce the rule setting. Some tools for the nightmares or the scaries are very common at this age also. So it's about the limits and finding the right tools for them.
Yeah, so I heard like nightmares are pretty common around, like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 is kind of, or night terrors, however they want to say it. What are some ways, because I know my son said that he's had a nightmare or just been scared. I don't think he said nightmare, but like just scared. So how can you deal with that? Because when I hear like my kid's scared, then I just want to lay there and hug him, which I probably shouldn't do every night.
Yeah, it's very common that at times they start thinking about, oh my God, I'm scared about this thing that I saw during the day and I'm going to dream with it. So they start getting anxious. So one of the tools that I have available on my webpage, or you can actually do it by yourself, it's just a free printable, is like create visualizations for them. For example, you ask your kid like, okay, that's after all the bedtime routine, you tell him, okay, what's your favorite thing? Maybe for your kid is football. So let's think about football. Do you want to dream about football? Yes, you can dream that you're playing football and you're the greatest player and you grab the ball and then you have all your friends watching and you created this perfect scene for him and you interact with him and he's actually creating this visualization. So he's just laying there thinking about that funny scene that he's created in his mind. So you can actually print like a football and paint, maybe put it like near his bed. And then you say, like, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're scared, just think about the amazing football game that you're going to have with your friends. So that way they feel more in control of their thoughts. And it can be football, it can be rainbows, it can be unicorns, it can be whatever your child likes. And I have some cards that are called dream cards. You can look for them on my webpage and just print a bunch of them. Just don't print a lot because I print like 50 for my daughter and we take like forever to choose one every night. So don't do that.
It was like you were speaking to me on like that football one. I was like, oh, my kid would totally go for that. And I am checking out these cards as soon as we're done here. And this is probably happening tomorrow evening. So I'll let everyone know how that goes.
Yes. No.
Okay, so I want to get back to one other thing that you had said before, which kind of went with the 3-year-old too, is the whole consistency part of it, because I know that's probably like is that the most difficult thing you find with like parents and keeping a plan?
Yes, actually, there's only two reasons why a sleep plan might not work, and one of them is being consistent, that the parents struggle to follow the plan, or just you just think like, oh, it's one time, it won't, I mean, it won't affect, but it does,
Mhm.
because I think until 5 years old, they start understanding exceptions. So if you do one exception one night, they're gonna ask for it the other night and the other night and the other night, because they don't understand that, oh, this is an exception because I'm sick, or this is an exception because we are on vacation. They don't get it. So it's not like possible for them to
Mhm.
get it. So yeah, you have to be very consistent in this case with toddlers with the limit setting. If you already said no, I'm not gonna cover you, or I'm just gonna give you one kiss, then just stick with it. He's gonna fight it, he's gonna negotiate, but just you're gonna struggle 1, 2 nights, maybe three, and after that, he's gonna get the idea like, okay, mom is not gonna take me for buddy. So why do I call her? I'll go back to sleep.
I just feel so seen, and I have things that I need to try and do right now. Okay, so back to some younger kids. Now, more with babies, and again on the consistency, I think the hardest thing was just laying there and hearing the baby cry, and then kind of second guessing myself and myself as a mom. So, how do you help moms specifically, or parents too, in that process as a gentle sleep coach?
Well, as I told you, with the follow up, is I need to be like very talking with the moms like every day if I can, because I need, like, my coaching is not about the kid, it's about the mom. It's about telling the dads and give them the tools, the moms, the parents, I'm sorry, give them the tools on how to do it. So yes, you're gonna feel desperate in the middle of the night after 1 hour, and your baby, he might not be crying, but he's still awake. You're like, what? I'm
Mhm.
sleeping, what? And you start crying instead of the baby. That's very common. So just having in mind and remind that the crying, it's not about you, it's about them learning something new, that you're giving them actually a gift of sleeping, because when they start sleeping better, it's not just you as a mom that changed. Like, they eat better, they have less meltdowns, they have, like, I actually said like, someone changed my daughter, and just because she was getting like 11 hours of sleep at night, I
Mhm.
had another after that. So you have to think to yourself like, okay, I'm giving her this, this is going to be useful for her for the rest of her life. So it's like a gift of sleep, of being okay, of having, of being healthy, of uh, eating good, of being in a good mood, of learning the next day. So just keeping that in mind and just going one step at a time.
Yeah, sometimes it's really like how we look at situations. And I love that you phrased it as you're giving the child a gift, right? Because they are going to be so much happier and so much healthier with more sleep. And
Yeah.
then in turn, you're also giving yourself a gift as well.
Yes.
And sometimes it's very difficult in that moment to look towards the future, and everyone kind of wants that instant gratification, and you see that a lot. I mean, like, it's kind of, with a cookie sitting in front of you, if you're on a diet, it's a lot easier with a cookie sitting in front of you, like, oh, that cookie's going to taste really good, instead of like, long term, I'd really like to be healthier and lose weight. So it's really taking a look at that gift a little
Yeah.
longer term.
Another thing that we just say to moms is it gets worse before it gets better, because sometimes when the crying is, or not the crying, but the struggling is at its peak, like, oh my God, he was awake for 2 hours, but we are on the third day of training. It gets worse before it gets better. You have to always like go down until you start, for you to start going up. So that's
Hmm.
also another, I tell moms during the emails, like, you're doing great. Okay, the fact that you're doing something, it's just the first step, and you're doing good.
I mean, and sometimes that's all a mom needs to hear, is that like you're doing a great job, and that reassurance. And like, you as a sleep coach, I'm sure that is just like that's what helps everything in the end, is just that reassurance.
Exactly.
And I mean, for moms that have or are about to go through potty training, I feel like it's the same thing too, where it gets way worse before it gets better. Like I almost gave up. And then like the next day, my son was potty trained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that point where you're about to break down. It's
Yes.
that's the final
Exactly.
push.
Exactly. Okay. So another question we got from mamas was regarding teething and sleeping with teething, or any tips and tricks around that, because I know that can be difficult in like the first year and a half of life.
Yeah. Well, feeding, it's not something that will make him wake up more or stay up because he's struggling with the pain. So a few kids might struggle, and if they wake up, you just have to think that don't do anything that you don't want to keep doing. Like for example, he's sitting and you feel so bad that maybe he's hurting, and you take him to your bed. Then the teething might only last 1 or 2 days, but you will keep doing that because you will not be sure if it's still teething, if it's still in pain. So sometimes it's more about the mom than the kids. The teething, it actually doesn't hurt that much. That's what pediatrician said. That's what pediatrician just said, like, yeah, he's gonna teeth, a few drops or Tylenol and he will be fine. And you're like crying because he has a fever and because of teething and the teeth is breaking, it's making its way out. Not that bad. For sleep, it's not that bad. He might wake up 1 or 2 days, just reassure your baby and go there and be with him. And if you are okay with giving him medication or any other method that you decide, but just be constant and don't do anything for more than 3 days that you don't want to keep doing, because it's gonna be then a cycle, and it's gonna be more difficult to go out of it.
If you're watching this on video, the only reason I'm over here smiling is because I feel like Veronica knows my life and has seen my sleep tactics. Oh, okay. Well, that is excellent advice that I need to start implementing as well. I have so much to work on, Veronica. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just let me know any questions that you have. Anyone's, just send me a DM. If you have any questions, I open boxes for questions once a week where you can put the age of your child, your specific question. And I'm going to be talking about that question because sometimes it's useful there are a lot of moms that have a kid of the same age and with the same that you have. So let's just help each other.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're really never alone in anything. There's other people going through the same thing. They've gone through it, and there's plenty of moms that'll go through it too. So all band together and help each other out. But we did have a few like age specific questions, and I'm going to direct them to your Instagram, which I know you've started some charts on sample schedules depending on ages. So if that was one of your questions, go check out LullaBy Veronica on Instagram. It'll all be in the notes down here too, and you can get step by step, like times, breakdown, everything. They're really awesome. You have some awesome content on your Instagram that you're giving out like just for free. It's so cool.
Yeah. That's the idea. I don't want to have a lot of followers. I just want people to go follow, and if they need help, and then you can unfollow me when your kid is already sleeping. Just unfollow me. You don't need me anymore.
I mean, like that's awesome, because that's what you want to do. It's like you want to give people the success, and then bye, have a great life.
Exactly.
All right. So the last question that we ask all of our experts is, what is one piece of advice that you've received that changed you or your life?
Okay, so this has nothing to do with sleep. It has to do with mom guilt, in a book that I recently read. And they talk about like 2 types of mom guilt that we have. Like we have to find the root cause. Like, am I feeling guilty because this thing that I did goes against my principles? Or am I feeling guilty because this thing that I did goes against my neighbor's principles? Because sometimes we just feel like we're doing it wrong, but not because it's wrong for us, because it's wrong for our neighbor, because he or she is doing things differently. So once you ask yourself that question, if it's something that goes against your principles, just breathe, forgive yourself, and find a way to do it better the next day. Like, okay, maybe tomorrow I'm not gonna scream that loud to my child. She's only 3. But maybe you say like, okay, this I'm okay with this. It's just because this neighbor or this friend told me that she's doing it differently, but I really don't mind. So maybe I'll not share with that person about what I'm doing, and I'll just do things by or myself. So finding the root cause of the mom guilt being based on those 2 things was like life-changing for me.
That speaks to me so much, because that is exactly what I talk to mamas about, and dealing with their mom guilt is like finding out like where it actually comes from. Because a lot of people will say like, oh, hey, it comes from society, or it comes from my mother-in-law is causing all this guilt on me. But essentially it comes down to you. Like, no one can make you feel a certain way that you don't already feel. So taking that responsibility and then forgiving yourself. I mean, we're all going to make mistakes, right? And so forgiving yourself and being able to be like, okay, next time I'm going to do better. That's like what we try to teach our kids, right? Like, hey, don't hit your brother. Next time, ask him for the toy, right? We're just trying to get better each day.
Yeah, you say something very true. We have to say that to ourselves. Hey, I will try tomorrow. I'll do it differently, and it's fine. We'll find a way.
Yes. All right, everybody. So go check out Veronica on Instagram at LullaBy Veronica, and her website too, with those awesome cards that I'm going to go check out this evening at lullabyveronica.com. And thank you so much, Veronica. I love chatting with you. And everyone out there, have a fantastic day free of mom guilt, because you deserve it.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.